lovelies, it's Miss Lady Lace here on my glamour channel, and today I have for you my next pinup posing series video. This is a regular segment I feature here on my glamour channel where I'm teaching you all about how to pose like a pinup queen, whether it's for on stage or in a pinup or burlesque show. Today we're going to be working on how to pose on the floor. I'll be teaching some essential elements as well as 8 fabulous pinup poses that you can do on the floor. As I have mentioned, these can be both used for photo shoots and shows, but the most important thing is taking care of your body. This is especially if you have any knee, back, or any other issues that might be upset when getting on the floor or posing on the floor, so always take care of yourself above everything else. When it comes to posing, there are no limits or rules on how to actually pose. I teach how I like to pose on here and my personal preferences, but these are in no way me saying this is the only way you can do something, but rather just highlighting the best way I think something can be done. With all that said, let's jump onto the floor. We'll start by talking about some important elements when it comes to posing as a pinup, which are especially important when we are on the floor. When we're on the floor, we want to be especially aware of our body's alignment and our posture. Losing our posture, like doing something like rounding our back, creates a very different image to when we're actually sitting up straight and looking elegant. This is the same for when we have our leg lines and body lines. We always want to finish that line elegantly. So we want to think about things like elegantly posing our hands instead of kind of scrunching them up in a ball or having them too stretched out. And when we're using our feet, we want to point our toes instead of flexing them so we have that long, beautiful line. We also want to be aware of our own personal bodies and how we can best flatter them. For me, especially when posing on the floor, one of the things I have to be very cautious of is my arms. I have hypermobility, which is especially obvious in my elbow joint. I'm going to demonstrate this in just a moment, but I'm going to just give you a moment. If you want to skip this, I'll put a timestamp below just because it is a little bit strange and some people find it a bit gross. But when I'm on the floor, if I'm to straighten my arm, I have this strange elbow pop motion. So I want to be careful of that and either keep it relaxed or feel when it's straight when I'm leaning on the floor to avoid that strange look. Everyone's bodies have little things like this which we can choose to accentuate or hide in photos, and that's completely up to you. Most importantly, when we're posing, whether it's on stage or in a photo shoot, we really want to make sure our face is doing something fabulous. We want to really be activating that facial expression. Floor work is definitely one of those trickier elements as it can be a little bit more uncomfortable, it can require a little bit more core strength, so these things often mean our face will do something a little bit less comfortable, so we want to make sure we're channeling our face, engaging it in a beautiful way. I have a whole video up featuring how to channel some elegant facial expressions for a pinup photo shoot or on stage, a part of my pinup posing series, which I will link below. With these important elements covered, let's get into today's poses. So we'll jump into pose number 1, which I believe I included in my classic pinup pose series, but this is our Betty Page inspired pose, where we're going to be sitting on top of our legs with our bum kind of resting onto our feet. We're going to place our hands onto our legs. In this position, we want to make sure we're really activating that strong posture, relaxing our shoulders. Our hands, we're going to gently, evenly spread those fingers, slightly flexing our hands, and then we're just going to rise off our bum a little bit, and we can pose in this position. With any of the poses we do today, we can take our hands in a number of positions to create different looks from here. One of the most important elements with this pose is that we angle our legs away from the camera, as we don't want to be showing between our legs directly at the camera, as this can create a strange perspective with our knees being closer to the camera, and depending on our outfit may not be Instagram suitable. From our Betty Page pose, we're going to come to pose number 2. What we're going to do is come up onto our right knee and have our left knee in front of our body. We want to ensure we're pointing that toe, and again we're angling our legs away from the camera. Again, you could do any hands in this position, but I'm going to take my back arm and place that behind my head. Again, we don't want to have our armpit towards the camera, and we also want to have that front leg covering up the front instead of opening up in this direction, which has a strange look. We can put this in front and it creates a really elegant pose. I mentioned before that we want to pose that front leg. If we just kind of relax it or flex it up, it creates that strange positioning again. So by pointing that front toe, we really elongate that line, finishing it down at our toes rather than cutting us off at our ankle. For pose number 3, we're going to come to sit on our bottom, ensuring we're pointing our feet, activating our core, relaxing those shoulders, and we can place our hand onto the floor. We can place one hand in front, under our chin, behind our head, or anywhere comfortable for you. You can also play around with different leg positions by straightening a leg up, taking the back leg up, or having a little bit of a play around with that position. From here, we're coming to position 5, where we're just going to relax that back leg down onto the floor. And we want to ensure we're pointing that front foot. We can relax back into this pose. We can pop that hand back onto the ground, take one arm in front, pretty much doing any of the arm poses that our heart desires. In this pose, I prefer to bend my front leg in, as if I bend my back leg in, it's a bit more of a cropped position, it's a bit more open crotch, and I'm also losing sight of my back leg. So by having that front leg bend, it's very much creating a much more elegant look. For pose number 6, we're going to roll onto our side, and we're pretty much emulating our classic pin-up pose in the air. So with our leg on top, we're trying to create that elegant leg line and pressing that down onto the floor. We can either be up on our arm or relax down onto our elbow, wherever we feel most comfortable. A lot of these poses as well would look fabulous if you had some props, something like a telephone you could be answering. You could be doing your lipstick in this position or looking up at a mirror. With this pose, we're making sure we're pointing those feet, we're activating that core, keeping those shoulders relaxed, as this is an easy position to kind of relax down into. We really want to activate that beautiful posture, as I mentioned in our elements earlier. Pose number 7, we're going to roll onto our stomach and we're going to have our legs behind us. Just like our other positions, you always want to be pointing those toes, as flex does create a strange look. So pointing them, and I like to cross one over the other. With my body, I'm ensuring that I'm not sinking down into my shoulders. I'm really elongating up as much as I can. I'm just trying to be elegant with my hands where possible. But again, a prop would be really fabulous, like the telephone prop would be super cute in this pose. Finishing with pose number 8, I believe I may have covered this one in my more advanced poses. But essentially what we're going to do is lie onto our back, angling our body away from the camera and trying to look back elegantly towards the camera. My pants are probably going to fall down a little bit as my legs go in the air, but don't mind that. You'll get the idea of the pose. This one looks especially fabulous when done in lingerie. So we're lying down onto the ground. This one's quite comfortable until the legs go up into the air. But I'm going to extend my legs up, and I'm going to bend one in front of the other to create that beautiful pin-up beveled leg line. And what we can do with our hands is trace our legs. We can put them across our body, extend them out onto the floor. Anywhere they look fabulous, but this is a really fabulous, more advanced pose to do for your pin-up floor poses. These have been my 8 fabulous pin-up poses for the floor. I'd love to know in the comments below if you enjoyed today's video and would like to see more videos a part of my pin-up posing series. If you'd like early access to my videos, exclusive content, and to help support me in creating more videos here on YouTube, I do have my glamour community on Patreon. I'd like to thank all my patrons, but especially my VIP glamour patrons, which I will list here. The support you give me truly helps me in creating more content for all of you. If you'd like to follow my daily pinup adventures, I post super regularly to Instagram. I'll pop a little link here as well as at the end of the video. And to never miss out on my vintage fun here on YouTube, be sure to hit the subscribe button below, turn on those bell notifications, and I will be seeing you all real soon.